So when I first heard the news that Moza Racing was going to be replacing the R16 and the R21 wheelbases, I have to tell you, I was a little bit heartbroken, and this is why. I was convinced in my mind that they were going to stick those wheels into the same square-looking base as the R12, the R9, the R5, etc., and that Moza was going to have converted their lineup to what basically makes all direct drive wheelbases look the same: a black box. They all are just a black box, and not that that means they don't function perfectly, but just sometimes I like things to be a little bit more stylish, and I think that's one of the reasons I always loved the R16 and the R21 so much, was because they had that sleek, totally race car inspired body or shape to them, and making them truly unique and the best looking direct drive wheels on the entire sim racing market. Well, this is the new R21. So we now know for sure that they have kept the cool looking body, and that makes me super duper happy. And so this is the new Moza R21 wheelbase, and they have updated this to the new ecosystem. So why did Moza need to redo or re-release a version of the R16 and R21? Well, these were the first wheelbases that they ever made. And with that, they had, let's just call it their old tech 1.0. And since making the R12, the R9, the R5, the R3, did I get them all? They have learned some things, and they have changed some things, and they really needed to update the R16 and R21 to bring it into that new 2.0 ecosystem. So that is the main reason for there being a new model. Now, when I originally reviewed the R21, it was actually $1,200, and I did notice that the price on this is now $999. And I don't know if that happened just with the new release or if that happened earlier, but that new price of $999 makes this only $47.50 per Newton meter, which is the second least expensive direct drive wheelbase behind only the VRS. So that is remarkable. An amazing wheel for the price, and I know $1,000 isn't exactly giving them away, but $47.50 per Newton meter is outstanding. So for $999 for 21 Newton meters, that is a great deal. The R16 is $799. So what kind of upgrades do we see inside of the new R21 and R16 bases? There are a few things that are updated or new about it. So first thing, it is that new force feedback, they're calling it, and there are some enhanced features. They've made some changes in force feedback. They talk a lot about enhanced oversteer and understeer, so more performance out of the wheelbase as well. Beyond that, like I said, the new ecosystem. So the original R21 and R16 really only had 3 plug-in points on the back. You had a power, you had an USB, and you had an emergency stop. But now they've added all the extra connectors, so you can plug in your Moza handbrake, you can plug in your Moza shifter, you can plug in your Moza pedals, and even a Moza dash into this wheelbase, and all that goes into the computer with just one USB. So that compatibility with all of the other more modern Moza products. And modern is the key word here, because with that change, this wheelbase no longer works with any of the V1 stuff. So if you have a V1 GS wheel, this is a V2, a V1 GS wheel is not going to work on a new R16 or R21 V2 base. It's only going to work with V2 wheels, but it works with all the V2 wheels. So that is really nice. So what other changes? Part of the change and part of what they learned in making the R12, R9, R5, and R3 even is the dual connectivity. So originally these were wireless only communication between the wheel rim and the base. And with the newer models, the 2.0, they have dual connectivity. So you still have that wireless connectivity. And on top of that, internally there is a wired slip ring, which is good for like 5 million cycles or something. And that really doubles up and increases the communication between the wheel rim and the wheelbase. And that's the biggest reason why V1 wheel rims will not work with V2 bases, is because of that big difference. So again, modernizing this wheelbase with other things. And one other thing I should mention real quick, I did mention it works with Moza pedals. That is the exception of the SRP light pedals. It won't work with the light pedals, only the SRP and the CRP pedals. So not the light pedals, which are part of the R5 bundle, but it is compatible with everything else. So it isn't just the wheelbases that Moza has come out with, and I did some testing. So again, this is the GSV2 wheel. I was able to plug this in right away, or mount this in and do some testing, and the wheel felt great. The R21 has always been one of my favorite wheelbases. It is tremendously powerful. I mean, I run this thing down at like 3, 4, 5% in iRacing with 80% in the Windows settings, and that's more than enough force feedback. I love the delicateness and at the same time the strength with this wheelbase. I think it does a great job of giving you curbing effects. It does a great job with oversteer and understeer and really letting you know what the car is doing. But I'm not here to do a review today. This is really just giving you an idea what's going on with the Moza lineup. In addition to the wheelbase, again, $999 is the new price for the R21, $799 for the R16. They now have the front adapter. So another part of the upgrade to the R16 and R21 was these used to be bottom mount only. So the only way to mount this thing was with the bottom 4 holes, which means you need a real conventional rig. Bottom mount rigs are kind of old school or conventional when you think of the new profile rig craze, and so many of those use side mounts or other methods because it gives you better clearance. Well, this new front mount bolts right onto the front just like a conventional direct drive wheel, and this mount can either be a top mount, or a front mount where you just put it on top like that, and then you have 15 degrees of adjustability. It also comes with these brackets, which means it actually works with a side mount now. So that was one of the things that was kind of a negative or not so good when it came to the R16 and R21 bases, is that they didn't work with anything except the bottom mount, and for some people that just did not work. And now this awesome cool looking base will work on even like a P1 side mount chassis, which is another great upgrade to the new version of both of those. That front mount, if I didn't mention, it was $59.99 for those. Now another new item from Moza, and we've seen this from a few other manufacturers, and I'm going to tell you, this is the kind of thing you either need or you don't, and you probably know you either need it or you don't. There won't be a lot of confusion, and you might be looking at it thinking, I don't even know why you would need that. In that case, you probably aren't one of those people. 10 years ago, I wish I had one of these. This is the new Moza extension. It is a 15 centimeter or 150 millimeter extension. Goes for $119, and this literally, you take this cap off. This goes on just like a quick release, and it extends how far out the wheel sticks from the wheel base. In this case, 15 centimeters. And then you put this wire, sorry, I got things going on all over, through, and that cap goes back out on this end. And now 15 centimeters further from the base, you have your wheel rim. Now, why would you need this? In certain formula positions, certain people with smaller monitors, I've wanted to do this in certain custom rigs that I built for myself. I've wanted the monitors to be like down right here. You know, it would be the perfect viewing angle, perfect field of view for me when I'm driving. And yet to put the monitors there would be impossible because it would be obstructed by the wheel itself. That's what this shaft does. So like I said, it's the kind of thing you either need or you don't need, and you probably know it up front. $119 for that adapter. So the main point here in the show is just seeing the rapid expansion and updating that Moza's been going through. So it hasn't just been coming out with the newer models and neglecting the old, but now they're right back to updating and getting more out of the original R16 and R21 models. They're making it more compatible with more rigs for more drivers, and that's a great thing. And they're even thinking about, you know, who else can benefit from what kind of upgrades to this ecosystem that would make it a better performance. So I love that they have these options available. And they're really thinking about everybody in sim racing. You think about the R3 bundle is a great starter bundle. The R21 is a great pro level model. And they have just about everything in between, a variety of wheels. And I know it kind of sounds like a sales pitch, but I guess every day I'm just a little blown away by the pace, the quality, and the ideas that are coming out of Moza Racing. So I hope you've enjoyed this show. If you have, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can find out when our next video comes out. And thank you for watching. This is the Simpit. I'm Sean Cole. and I'll see you on the track.